What do women want in men and relationships?
Well, I think it has been a lot of misconception out there today because when we look at the Western world and what men think women want in relationship, it's mostly about passive value. You either have to look very good or you have to have a lot of money, a great career, and status within that one as well. And that is not what I believe is what women want today in relationships. Because I believe much more that what women want today is actually men being real. So many men out there have been so hyped about being someone in order to come up in the same attractiveness level as beautiful women. And it just doesn't work that way. So that is what I believe women actually want in men. They want normal men. They can behave normally. And we rarely see that today.
Can I have an example of what a woman would disqualify, and what a woman would like say yes to? Like, how do we tend to like disqualify men and deem them as not normal?
Okay, so what women knows, specifically those women that have a lot of male attention, they know their spell power over men. So, I mean, most beautiful men, most beautiful women are just normal people. And when men coming up to them and really get spelled by the beauty, they become overly friendly and their interpersonal communication skills get really damaged by that kind of spell. And most of the time when they're coming up to the women, they just can't talk normally. It's all about rambling about themselves. They're putting themselves a lot in focus. They're trying to, convey ideas, interesting stories, being playful, being funny, and all of that in order to, in some way, impress the women. And I've seen that over and over again. If you just look how men behave in front of beautiful women, we will see that the human behavior in normal conversation is not really there. It is a lot of, what can I say, compromised conversation based on how men feels. And there is a scientific reason for it. And it has to do with the spike of neurotransmitters in men's brain that get released when they see something beautiful. And those neurotransmitters are directly linked to attraction, sexual attraction, bonding, and love itself. So that is how men really feel when they see beautiful women. And when men trying to behave normally, which is almost impossible when you feel something like that, women can see that instantly. You probably have been in that situation many times when the guys find you attractive, for example. He goes up and he talks with you and you just look at him and you can just feel it, that there is something with him that is not really a normal conversation based, like a normal person talking with you. Because you have co-workers, you have your family you're talking normally to, and you know how normal people act in front of you. They don't have any romantic interest. But when guys is coming up to you and find you attractive, the whole conversation is actually getting compromised, and women can see that. And many times women disqualify that directly. They just want men that can behave real to them, have a normal conversation to them, not being this person that put her into the center of universe in terms of her beauty and then behaving accordingly, if you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge problem today, really.
What do you think?
Well, I just today, for example, I run Game Global, so we have the biggest network of wingmen in the world, and normally we get guys, well, sometimes we get guys who are kind of off the mark and they kind of think that a man needs certain things, certain specific things, oddly specific things, in order to get a woman, as if it's the only way. So one person today, for example, was so intentional on believing in the fact that a man needs a Lamborghini in order to have a woman fall in love with him. Like, this stuff is just ridiculous to
A
me.
Lambo.
Obvious, like,
For the two
Did your
women, for the two women, the two women watching, have you dated anyone with the Lambo? Like I haven't. Sorry,
exactly.
God.
Did your dad have a fucking Lamborghini? How the fuck were you born? Like, are you? This is some nonsensical stuff that I see all the time. That's the extreme side, but there is some truth in the fact that some women may be into that kind of person. But you know, this stuff is extremely vague. Not everyone has a Lamborghini, but people are trying to have sex all the time. So that to think that you need certain requirements, like you have to be 6 foot tall, you have to be a millionaire. These are just ridiculous things that are implanted in some people's minds, and it's becoming dangerous for a lot of guys out there because it not only damages your own chances, but it's harming your own mindset and preventing you from actually doing things that help you go forward. And if you're just making excuses saying, well, I don't have a Lamborghini, I'm never going to get a woman, then you're never going to get a woman because you're never going to do anything in order to try. So finding your own uniqueness, having some kind of personality that does not depend on having a Lamborghini. Like I was saying today, I'm glad I grew up poor because my personality would then have to rely on finding myself rather than trying to show off like crazy expensive possessions. That is not me. In some alternative universe, there could be a version of me that is extremely materialistic, and that will attract gold diggers if you frame it in the wrong way. But if you're smart about these kinds of things, you don't need to rely on having certain things. Like here's a big one for a lot of guys. The height argument, of course. A lot of guys think they have to be tall. Like seriously, I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'2". So some people may not want to listen to my advice about this. But if you are short, I believe if I was short too, I would follow this to the fucking letter. I would see it as my superpower being short because you would be able to stand out. And you having a woman on your arm, especially an attractive one, that makes you look really good. That makes you look better than me, a tall person with the same woman in my arm. You being smaller than me with the same woman in a different context, that makes you look better than I would because you're smaller. So you get the, well, not attention necessarily, but it looks so much better. So being short is a superpower. Any weaknesses, flip them upside down and turn them into your strengths.
So, do you guys feel as though women, or do you guys think that women are picky?
They
Well,
have to be, but go ahead.
yeah. Okay, so what I think when it comes to pickiness of women, I believe it is not what men are thinking today. When people are thinking that, when men are thinking women being picky, they're thinking in terms of passive value trait, as what I just mentioned, that they are picky with the wallet that men have. Does he have a thick wallet? Is he rich? Is he handsome? Does he take care of himself in terms of extreme physical training, for example, and all that? So men think that they have to be really on the top of the game in so many different fields, like making money, going to the gym, in some way being pretty cool in terms of having a great lifestyle and so on. I don't believe that that is what women are picky for. There are some gold diggers, as what I also mentioned, that I believe exist. But if we want to talk about the rule itself, not women that belongs to the exception of the rule, women are not really picky based on those things. What I've seen based on close to 1,000 of clients that I've coached, including myself, having a lot of experience approaching and dating women, what I've seen is that the women pickiness today is actually to be with someone who is real, behaving real towards you, can talk normally towards you and being curious about you. Just someone who is real. And that real is actually quite rare today. There are so many guys that can't be real. And that is a huge problem in the society when it comes to the dynamic between men and women being real. And we're going to go later in this podcast, we're going to go through what I mean with being real. But in all sense, being real is what women are craving for. That is what I've seen.